All right. I just got off work a little while ago. I had to get up early today to go to work, so a little tired right now. Not sure how good this is going to be, but I wanted to get it done tonight so I wouldn't have to worry about it tomorrow before the pay-per-view. Anywho, let's talk about Impact, and hopefully my throat will hold up better this time. Last Impact before Bound for Glory 2017. Wow, it has been a process getting here, hasn't it? And after last week's installment of filler, and more filler, Impact really needed to recover here in a big way. And while there was significantly less filler on this show, there were still some very strange and baffling decisions being made here. Case in point, the X Division match. At Bound for Glory this Sunday, you're going to see the X Division title on the line in a match between Trevor Lee, Desmond Xavier, Sanjay Dutt, Petey Williams, Matt Sydal, and Garza Jr. So to hype that, they decided to book a match for Impact between Trevor Lee, Desmond Xavier, Sanjay Dutt, Petey Williams, Matt Sydal, and Garza Jr. Because why ask fans to pay to see it when we can just give it away for free 4 days earlier and make fans less likely to give us their money? Why in the world anyone thought this was a good idea, I can't even imagine. That you're just going to burn off your pay-per-view match on free TV when this was one of the only matches on the damn pay-per-view card that was not a rematch of some kind. I got nothing. I can't think of a single reason why you would want to do this. And fans just got the match you were promoting for the pay-per-view, so now the chances of them paying to see it on Sunday just went down. My mind is a blank. Now, I'm guessing this means they're going to add some type of gimmick to the pay-per-view card, to the pay-per-view match now. I'm still expecting them to make it an Ultimate X, frankly. But if that's happening, then why not announce that in advance and promote it ahead of time for weeks, instead of after the go-home show is already aired? You know? Doesn't it make sense to advertise something like that? Just asking. Or, instead of what you did here, maybe you could have devoted this time to a promo segment with these guys. Maybe give Garza Jr. a chance to explain what the hell he's even doing in this match, because I think that's something that a lot of people, myself included, are wondering about. A talking segment could have provided some context for this, which is something this title match is in serious need of when you consider how it was put together. You had Trevor Lee feuding with Sanjay and Petey. Okay. But then there's Sydal, who was just kind of reinserted into this situation after his main event push stopped being a thing from out of nowhere. And then Desmond Xavier, who won the Super X Cup, said he was going after the X Division title, only to disappear for weeks on end, and then come back and very hastily make it into this match because someone backstage realized that it would be kind of stupid if he wasn't involved. And then, at the 11th hour, they're like, fuck it, let's throw Garza Jr. in there too for shits and giggles. Garza Jr. has had nothing to do with any of these people. Hasn't interacted with any of them, wasn't involved in the X Division at all until this week. But he gets into the match somehow because the writers couldn't figure out what else to do with him. I know I've been throwing this word around a lot lately, but this is some of the laziest booking I've seen in some time. I feel bad for the wrestlers, who deserve much better material than this. They did their jobs. They had a good match here. But this title match has been just thrown together so clumsily that it's kind of sad. Anyway, the show proper begins with, what else? A video package. Hashtag take a shot. This strikes me as a really bad idea when you're coming off a show that got, I believe, its lowest viewership on Pop TV due to all the filler on it. I mean, if you want to grab the audience's attention right out of the gate, a commercial for something that happens later in the week really doesn't do that. But while the placement of this video could have been different, and I wish it had been different, I do appreciate them actually doing a Knockouts feud that's high profile enough to get a video package like this. I mean, there's just one thing the video didn't cover. A reason for why the feud exists. Now, what do I mean, you ask? Well, let me answer that question with a question. Why are Rosemary and Taya Valkyrie feuding? I'm not joking. Think about it. Why are they feuding? Taya shows up on Impact, attacks Rosemary, and they've been fighting ever since. Why did she attack Rosemary? What was the reason behind the attack? They've never given us a reason for this. Rosemary wasn't the Knockouts champion at the time, so going against her doesn't get Taya anything. They could have easily explained this by giving them some kind of backstory together, or by having Taya say something like she wanted to be the top star in this division, so when she came in, she immediately set her sights on the woman that everyone said was the #1 girl. You know, that would have made sense. It's not much of a story, but it's something. I don't think we've even gotten that much. Taya just hates Rosemary and wants to take her out for reasons that are left up to the audience's imagination. The writers really need to give us more than that. And it's a real credit to those women that I was as excited as I was for the Red Wedding match on Sunday, but now it seems we won't be getting that match at Bound for Glory after all due to unforeseen circumstances. Because we couldn't just catch a break for once. Inevitably, something had to go wrong. It's always something. Anyway, after this video, the show begins for realsies, and we immediately zoom over to Border City Wrestling in Canada for a Knockouts tag match. Now, this was certainly a better way to do these international segments than anything we got last week. Now, what shut the whole thing down on that show was that most of those segments didn't connect to Bound for Glory at all, or anything else, quite frankly. So you were left with a feeling that none of it really mattered and it was just a bunch of filler. Not the case here. It's still taking place in another company, but there's storyline involved. You're doing something to hype a Bound for Glory match, and you're apparently debuting a new talent as well. So there's actually a reason to give a crap here. Now, I liked the match. Allie pinning Sienna was a surprising outcome. They really needed Taya Valkyrie to make an appearance and do something, but this was still a big step forward for this concept. Once you have that connective tissue, so these segments aren't taking place in a vacuum, suddenly they become a lot more interesting. As long as the booking doesn't completely shit the bed like it did with the international segments featuring the AAA feud in previous weeks. So when you actually do them right, they become more interesting. Or perhaps I should say, interesting, period. So well done on that. This is the direction you need to go in to make this stuff work, or at least give it a chance to work. Now, there were still problems, though. Everyone's entrance, except for Rosemary's, was cut out, including Sienna's. The Knockouts champion. No entrance for her. There was a very strange transition here, too. Like, where Rosemary is still in the middle of her entrance, and then they just jump cut to the match already starting. Like, starting immediately, just like that. Very awkward edit right there. And I have to say, the aesthetics at Border City Wrestling are bad. Why is everything so dark? Turn the damn lights on! There was one camera shot at ringside that was so dark you could barely see what was happening. And Impact have to be cognizant of stuff like this. Make sure these international segments actually look good before you put them on TV. This isn't complicated, guys. It's really not. Additionally, I guess this was technically the debut of good old Two Scoops, Casey Spinelli. And this is where the segment kind of faltered. I don't know what Casey Spinelli was doing here or why she's debuting in this match of all places. By all rights, it should have been Taya Valkyrie in this spot, and it really just came off like Spinelli was only there because Taya wasn't there, and they had a spot to fill. As a result, we don't get any kind of introduction to Spinelli before she gets in the ring. The match really didn't showcase her at all, and she just felt like a background player. Just a very ineffective way to debut somebody any way you look at it. As for Spinelli herself, I think they could do worse. And they certainly have done worse in the past. If they were looking for a new Canadian knockout to add to the roster, she wouldn't have been my first choice, but I don't hate this or anything. And Spinelli's a performer that I generally enjoy most of the time, although she does strike me as a talent that this creative team is going to have no clue what to do with, and debuting her like this doesn't help. So, my guess is she's going to have an uphill climb, unfortunately. Next, we're back in the Impact Zone. Lashley comes out, or should I say Dan Lambert comes out, because, well, let's face it, he's the one this stupid feud has really been about this whole time. And Lambert cuts another promo while Lashley just stands in the background doing nothing, and once again, I'm reminded of why I can't wait for this storyline to end. I actually liked it last week because all the attention wasn't on Dan Lambert for a change, and they actually focused on the people in that match that this has all been building to, sans King Mo. Where he's been, I have no idea. And this wasn't as aggravating as his last promo, though. For one, it was kept short. Secondly, he was actually talking about the people in the match this Sunday. I think it should have been Lashley saying all this stuff, or, God forbid, King Mo, because you gotta justify his existence somehow, and they really haven't done that yet. I don't think King Mo was even there, just like he wasn't there last week either. And yet, he's in the Bound for Glory match when he really hasn't done a damn thing in this whole situation. I think he might have punched Moose one time when all those other thugs were attacking him in the gym, in a spot that went by so quickly that most people probably completely missed it, like I did. And he really hasn't done a thing since. I don't think he's even appeared since then. Not in person, anyway. Ironically, Dan Lambert teaming up with Lashley at Bound for Glory would make a lot more sense. Think about that for a minute. But yeah, Lambert hypes the match. He doesn't go on too long. He keeps it short, so thank you. It doesn't change the fact that he's totally overshadowed everybody else in this feud, but, what are you going to do? After this, we get a video package about Grado versus Joseph Park. Hashtag take a shot. But we got that instead of Grado appearing in person, so thank you. Then we shoot over to Japan for a match of Pro Wrestling Noah. It's Moose and his partner, Random Noah Guy number 1, versus the team of Random Noah Guy number 2 and Random Noah Guy number 3. And pardon me for not knowing their names, but if you're not even going to show us some damn graphics with their names on them, then don't expect me or anyone else to remember their names. Now, you can probably tell where I'm going with this. They took a step forward figuring out these international segments with a knockout match, but then, but here, it was back to the filler stuff again, doing nothing to hype Bound for Glory, and just wasting a bunch of time, and that's not something any intelligent writer would be putting on a go-home show. Good match, but it just didn't belong here. So after this, we go to the LAX Clubhouse, where they get 2 visitors in the form of Eli Drake and Chris Adonis. Eli has come to make nice with them, but they're not really having it. And Diamante did a cavity search on Eli Drake. That was pretty funny, actually. I laughed at that comment. Like, coughed twice for me. What? What is she doing down there where her hand is just conveniently off, out of the frame? Oh boy. Diamante's awesome. So anyway, Eli wants them to work together tonight since they all have a common goal, at least for now, and Konnan agrees to this, but informs him that LAX is coming for the world title afterward. I hope that was just tough guy talk on Konnan's part, because LAX going after the world title a few months back always felt very awkward to me. Yeah, let's just keep them in the tag division for now, okay? And I also hope that that wasn't telegraphing Alberto El Patron joining LAX when he comes back. Because I kind of get the feeling that's where this is headed. So, after this, we get another video package, this time for LAX and OVE, Take a Shot. And then, a video package for the X Division title match, Take Another Shot. At least this one had all the guys in the match actually weighing in on the title and what it means to them, and that was nice. Still kind of lacking an explanation for how Garza Jr. ended up here. And after this, we get another video package, Take Another Shot. This one for the AAA feud. And again, I'll take this over this AAA feud actually getting screen time at this point, because this feud sucks. It's been a complete waste of EC3 and James Storm. By all rights, those guys should be in singles matches. I don't know what they're doing in a program like this. And then we get, that's right, a fourth video package in a row. Take a fourth shot in a row. For fuck's sake. So this is one for the Knockouts title match, and they mentioned that it's going to be Gail's last match. But it doesn't really focus on her retirement very much at all. Which, again, I don't understand when her retirement is, like, the biggest selling point in the match. I mean, all told, Allie probably talked more during this video. And you could justify that if Allie is winning the title on Sunday, but does anyone really think that Gail's not walking out of there with the belt tomorrow night? Anyway, after this, we get a promo segment. Gail comes out, and she finally talks about this. She finally puts some attention on it, finally does something to emphasize what could have been and should have been a big selling point of this Knockouts title match, and this pay-per-view for that matter. And we get something that we've really been missing this whole time, and that's Gail Kim stressing that this is her last Bound for Glory, her last shot at the Knockouts title. It would go without saying that this is something they probably should have been playing up as a big deal for weeks and months now, but it really hasn't been. They haven't been doing that. They actually waited until tonight to actually really drive this home. And even now, they didn't really drive it home that hard. And considering how hard that Gail has been pushed over the years, and what a big deal she's been for the Knockouts, and what a big selling point you'd think her retirement would be, it's absolutely baffling how little attention they've given to it. I didn't even want Gail in that title match, and I think they've been going about this all wrong. Yeah, they've left a lot of money on the table here by not taking Gail's last title shot, her last Bound for Glory before she retires, and actually doing something with it. There's a story there that could have given this match a lot of drama and emotional weight behind it, and the writers have ignored all of it. Remember Ric Flair's retirement at WrestleMania? That had a story. That had tons of emotion behind it, and it enhanced that match enormously. I mean, now imagine if they'd done something like that with Gail here. Wouldn't that make you more invested? But they didn't do anything. There's barely a story here at all. It really doesn't feel like Gail Kim's swan song, it just feels like a match. Now, why these writers wouldn't put more effort into this, or any effort into this, when you've got a great hook, a really compelling story here that practically writes itself, I don't know. I don't get it. And what they had Gail do here, it's like, okay, she addressed the retirement, but it's too little too late at this point. I mean, that match should have like so much more meaning and emotion than it does, but the writers just didn't go for it. What a waste. I don't think I can remember a single video package since Gail announced that actually played up the fact that she was retiring soon and drew attention to that and focused on it. I'd be willing to bet that there are fans out there who would order this pay-per-view to see Gail Kim's last match, but her retirement has gone so far under the radar that I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of those people don't even know about it. Once again, I have no idea what Impact officials are thinking here. I mean, they left a lot of money on the table with this situation. It just makes no sense to me. So, after this, Eli Drake Johnny Impact video package. Take a shot. And we finally come to our main event. Eli Drake and LAX versus Johnny Impact and OVE. You know what? Really fun match here. Just like a really enjoyable, fast-paced, high-octane match. I enjoyed this a lot. I wish it had been longer. I was really getting into this. I think it was certainly the most enjoyable match OVE have been involved in since they debuted. So, yeah, anyway, the Johnny Impact gets the win for the face team. And then the heels beat them down post-match because there was like 8 minutes left in the show at this point. So, obviously, they were going to do something here. And, you know, the tag teams brawl to the back and LAX destroy OVE. And Diamante spit on them as they were walking away. Diamante is fucking great, man. She seems really good with the improv stuff. I don't know if that was scripted. I suspect it wasn't scripted and she just threw it in. She's really entertaining with stuff like this. But yeah, so OVE get laid out. No mention of Sami Callihan. No tease of him. Really nothing at all. No promos for him. No nothing. You know, they mentioned that they were bringing a family last week, and then nothing, like, no tease at all here. So I don't know why there wasn't something here. So that would have been a great time to at least you know, drop a hint that he was on the way. Maybe have LAX get nervous about it or something. I don't know. So back in the ring, Eli Drake exposes the turnbuckle, and Johnny gets gets his back run into it, and then they pull up the ring to expose the boards underneath. And then they take a page out of Bully Ray's book, and then they just drop, and he does the gravy train on the exposed boards. And it gets right in his face, and it's like, you'll never have this title, Johnny Impact, and that's where it ends. And, you know, this is good. This is really good. You know, this is the type of stuff they should have been doing a lot more of in the weeks leading up to this pay-per-view. Finally, it feels like they're in serious hype mode. You know, if they're doing a lot more of this, and less stuff like Eli Drake being in Mexico while Johnny Impact is in the Impact Zone, insisting to anybody who will listen, that Eli Drake is hiding in the back somewhere afraid of him. This match might have more heat behind it. But yeah, good way to close the show. Good stuff. Better show than last week, thankfully. Not the greatest go-home show ever, but better than last week, nevertheless. The Noah segment had no business being there, though. In the future, I would suggest Impact limit these international segments to one per week, or maybe better yet, one every couple of weeks, so they can promote them ahead of time and build them up like there's something special, and then have a reason behind it with some kind of story built in. If it's just a random match for the sake of having a match that takes place in another company and has nothing to connect to it, and that doesn't connect to anything, like, no one's going to care. Random matches with no story attached are just not a draw to a mainstream audience, and the ratings reflect that. But, you know, I thought they did some good stuff here this week. They managed to hype, I believe, every match at Bound for Glory in some way, even if they were leaning on Kevin Sullivan's video packages pretty heavily to fill up time, instead of actually shooting new content. It's still, you know, it's not the best thing they could have done, but I'll certainly take BFG hype videos over international filler matches in this case. There are a couple matches that a video just isn't going to be enough to get me hyped for, but the build-up for those matches I'm thinking of has been such a mess that I doubt anything could save them for me at this point. So there's our Bound for Glory Go Home show. Sadly, I'm a lot less interested in Bound for Glory now that Taya Rosemary isn't happening. But I'm hoping they'll come up with something else to do with Rosemary at least. They still have a chance to put on a good show tomorrow night. Unfortunately, their track record seems to be working against them right now. I hope he gets mad tonight. So funny. Sorry, I'm a little tired for that. So you're gonna wait until Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. comes back to continue your comic book review show. A lot of people ask me about this. The comic show post show in the state that I was doing it in previously is we're not going to be continuing with that. I just wanted to change it up and do something different and try to improve it and make it bigger and better. So it's still going to exist. I'm still going to be reviewing those types of shows, but it's gonna become something else. And I really wanted to have it ready to go by now, but I've had a couple setbacks. I've had to work kind of get in the way, and I got sick a couple times, which kind of affected my ability to do stuff. But it's still coming. I'm looking at microphones right now. I've got a window that's minimized here where I'm looking at 2 different types of microphones. Hopefully I'm gonna get one ordered tonight, and I'll have that in the next couple of days, and then we should be pretty close to getting going. Yeah, I'm not gonna be reviewing those shows like week to week anymore because it was actually kind of taking up a lot of my time. And I didn't feel like the time was being used in a productive way, and I just wanted to redirect stuff and try to do something different with it. But it's coming. I can't tell you when just yet, and I'm frustrated that it hasn't started up yet. But it's coming. Okay. William A. Bear, I will cut my hair when I'm good and ready. Do you think Emma would be good for Impact Wrestling? I don't know. I guess she is. She might have a little bit of name value, as much name value as a WWE jobber could have, I guess. Of course, she's one of those. I guess you could argue that she's one of those people who were talented but kind of fell through the cracks. Maybe she was just misused. I don't know. Do they even have enough room for another new girl? I don't know. They got several girls waiting in the wings to debut. Well, I mean, MJ Jenkins just got released because they couldn't think of anything to do with her. She just sat backstage for close to a year. And they got Hanaya and Kira Hogan signed. They got to figure out something to do with them. And they got a lot of women that they're not even using right now. I mean, I'm kind of surprised KC Spinelli got in there. Maybe that was by virtue of Taya not being there, but I mean, it's a really packed locker room right now still. So I'm not sure where Emma would fit in. If they had a role for her, if they thought they could succeed with her where WWE failed in like an EC3 type of situation, then maybe. I don't think she's like a must-have or anything. Has Impact done anything good since Slammiversary? Good question, man. The whole August taping block was pretty much a disaster. A lot of the stuff they did creatively just hasn't been working, or just been very, very problematic. I have liked certain things, like I've enjoyed the Rosemary Taya feud, even though, like I said, we still don't know why they're feuding. There've been good things here and there, but overall, the quality definitely suffered starting in August. Until I think before, up until that point, it had been, relatively good. But maybe this is the result of Jeff Jarrett's personal issues kind of affecting his work, because I believe he was still the chief creative officer when they were producing these shows, right? But yeah, I'll be happy to put this August taping block behind us and just move forward. Do you think Billy Corgan's NWA has any chance of being a viable #2 promotion? Not anytime soon. I think right now they're probably a better question would be a viable #4 promotion. But I mean, let's be honest here. I mean, I'm rooting for him to succeed, but I don't. Does he even have a roster right now? As far as I can tell, NWA has a world champion and a world title challenger, and that's it. They got to start somewhere, but they need more than that. So yeah, they got a lot to do. So one thing at a time. I don't think they're even focusing on being a viable anything at the moment until they get an actual roster put together and maybe a show of their own. You think of the new link of Paige JoJo Xavier was in Mickie James? Oh God, did somebody else release a sex tape? Is there a new sex tape of Paige floating around? Oh boy, I haven't seen it. Whatever it is. Okay. There's some conversation about vanilla midgets in here that I'm not really following. Which member of OVE is which, I still don't know. I believe Jake is the blonde one, and Dave is the guy with dark hair. I think. Do you see Impact bringing back the old TNA belts with the Impact logo on it? Honestly, I don't know why they didn't just go back to the Impact Wrestling belts. No, they already had them. I mean, instead of just like putting like an Impact patch over the GFW belts, why not just go back to the Impact Wrestling belts? Just that's what I would have done. Honestly, those belts look better anyway. Gail is no longer Jane Cena, but she is known as Ramona Reigns or Hannah Hogan. I kind of prefer Jane Jarrett, personally. But take your pick. Thoughts on Thor Ragnarok? All right. Well, I saw it Friday night. Really enjoyed it. Very funny movie. Definitely one of the funniest Marvel movies. So there's a bit of tonal whiplash there because that's not really something these movies were known for. It's comedy. It's bizarre because I imagine this happened because of Chris Hemsworth's turn in the Ghostbusters remake, where everybody said he was so funny. I didn't see it. I didn't think he was funny at all in that movie. But quite frankly, no one was funny in that movie, so it wasn't really his fault. But yeah, it turns out that given the right material, Chris Hemsworth can be funny, and he was funny in this movie. Pretty much everyone was funny in this movie. It's basically a comedy film, an action comedy, which is strange considering it's fucking Ragnarok. Yeah, it's really enjoyable. I had two criticisms, I guess. One was that spoiler alert, Lady Sif is not in the movie. I guess because Jamie Alexander had a scheduling conflict. Kind of bugged me because had she been there, I think she would have had a big role. I mean, I really liked Valkyrie, but I got the impression that she was just a stand-in for Sif. So I'm hoping Sif can appear later on. I think Kevin Feige said something like you can assume that low-key banished her while he was posing as Odin or something, so she's still out there somewhere. So, okay. I want more Lady Sif, goddammit. Also, this is going to sound really weird, but it was almost too funny, in my opinion. Because there are moments in there that I kind of wish they had played straight. Because as effective as the comedy was, and I laughed at pretty much everything, there are times when you don't really need a laugh. Like, all right, no spoilers, but the end it's kind of a bittersweet ending. If something happens, you'll know it when you see it at the end, and it's a really big thing, a really big event, and you would expect that to be played for like some emotional heft and gravitas, and instead they kind of make a joke about it, and I laughed, but afterward I was like, did we really need that? Did we really need a joke at that part? Because I laughed, but I didn't want to laugh. I wanted to feel the weight of what had happened, and I don't really get that. So it's like the movie is so funny that the emotional beats don't really hit you as hard because you're just conditioned to laugh at everything. So I guess it's kind of a weird criticism to have, is that it's almost too funny. But yeah, I mean, nevertheless, I did enjoy it a lot. I liked Valkyrie. Sif stand-in, yes, but she was still cool. Loki was great. I like what they did with the Hulk. Cameos. Cameos are great. There's a really unexpected one that you're not going to see coming. Yeah, so overall I really enjoyed it. Definitely some tonal whiplash between the first two and this one, but it's a really fun movie. Okay. What else we got here? Sucks that Rosemary and Taya are not happening. No kidding. That was the match I was most looking forward to. Now we gotta wait until January to get it? God damn. I don't know what happened. BQ on the Impact Lounge podcast suggested that it may have been a visa issue that Taya had, which doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why would a Canadian wrestler need a work visa to wrestle in Canada? I don't know. But if this is the same kind of visa issue that stopped Rockstar Spud from coming in and led to him getting released, they gotta address that. Because, one's an accident, twice is a coincidence. If it happens again, they got a fucking problem on their hands they gotta deal with. So who's in charge of these work visas? Because that person ain't doing their job. Okay. How are you feeling? A little better, I guess. My voice is still kind of spotty, but I'm mostly over the cold now, unless I get another one. Because I got one a couple weeks ago, got over that, and then almost immediately got another one, and now I'm getting over that. I feel okay. Just my voice takes a while to recover. Although my voice is never really 100% anymore, unfortunately. Thoughts on Asuka so far? I actually haven't seen her. Between 9 and 10, I switch over to Fox and watch The Gifted, which I'm really enjoying. So Asuka's segments always seem to fall between that time. So I haven't actually seen her yet. What do you think of Marvel's Runaways trailer? Looks good. I've never actually read the Runaways comics. I've flipped through them a couple times, but I'm hardly an expert on that title, but it looks good. Looks better than Inhumans, that's for sure. And these people who host a podcast I listen to, they went to Comic-Con and they saw the first episode and they were raving about it. So I expect it'll be good. How did you like Inhumans? Well, I haven't seen it since the premiere. I said I'd watch the rest of the episodes, but I haven't had I haven't had much of a desire to stay home on Friday and watch it. So maybe I'll just wait for it to drop on Netflix and just binge the rest of the episodes. But yeah, I only saw the first two for the premiere, and I haven't seen it since. If James Storm leaves Impact, would you want him to go to NWA? I would want James Storm to go wherever he could get the best opportunity and make the most money, because the guy fucking deserves it. If that's NWA, then by all means go to NWA. If it's WWE, go there. But want James Storm to do what's best for him. That being said, I really hope he stays where he is. Let's see. Toni Storm is a superstar waiting to happen, plus she's hot as fuck. Agreed? What happened to the chick from British Bootcamp? Did she go to WWE? I assume you mean Kayleigh Ray. There were several chicks in British Bootcamp. Blossom Twins from Season 1. They retired. They actually got signed, but retired before they debuted in the main roster. And Season 2, we had Kayleigh Ray, we had Nikki Storm, now Nikki Cross, in NXT, and the Owens Twins. Kayleigh Ray was the only one who made the semifinals, which is just fucking baffling to me, because I can't believe that Nikki Storm didn't make the semifinals. Fucking Grado gets in there, but Nikki Storm doesn't. Fuck's sake. Kayleigh Ray did make the finals. She made the final 3, and didn't get signed. They signed Grado, but they didn't sign Kayleigh Ray. I thought she had top knockout babyface written all over her. I still do. I love Kayleigh Ray. Love her. And for the life of me, I do not understand why she is not working for a major company. But now she's still on the indies in Scotland. She appeared in the Mae Young Classic. But aside from that, still working in Scotland. Still working Scotland indies. And indies all over the place as well. Let's see. Do you think Tina could beg Russo to come back? I can understand the temptation, but I don't think Russo is the answer. Like, if there is a writer or a person out there who could get this company moving in the right direction again and kind of get those viewership numbers going that way, I don't think it's anybody that we've heard of before. I've said this in the past. I think if there's going to be a new boom period in wrestling, it's not going to be because of anyone who in the business right now or anyone who was in the business previously. It's going to be because of something new. Because somebody somebody in a position of power takes a chance on someone new. Because the last boom period happened because Vince McMahon realized that what he was doing wasn't working, and he took a chance on a guy named Vince Russo who was working on the WWE magazine, I believe. And then the Attitude Era happened because Vince went outside the box and tried something new. I think they got to go outside the box again. They got to look for a new writer with new ideas who doesn't think the way they do. Vince Russo wasn't the answer, at least in my opinion. Let's see. I love The Gifted. Do you think eventually we will get some X-Men or Brotherhood appear in the show? At least a few of them. Well, we got a couple of them now. Polaris, Blank, Thunderbird. Possibly. There's some kind of mystery about all the X-Men and the Brotherhood disappeared and no one knows where they went to. I assume it has to do with that explosion that killed the antagonist guy's daughter. But I guess that's going to be a major plot point, so maybe they'll resolve that and the X-Men and the Brotherhood will come back. Possibly. Yeah, who knows? Yeah, it's a good show. I'm liking it. It's not perfect, but it's it's growing on me a lot. One thing I noticed, Impact is lacking British knockouts on the roster, and why is Winter like the only British knockouts champion in Impact history? They could use some UK flavor in the knockout division. Kayleigh Ray, or the Owens twins, or all three of them. It's probably going to be tougher if WWE gets that UK promotion going. I really doubt we'd get Kayleigh Ray at this point, because after she was in the Mae Young Classic, she probably figures it's just a matter of time until she gets that phone call from Titan Towers. You could use a UK knockout in there, though. I agree with that. Thoughts on Sami Zayn's heel turn? I hear it's going well, but I don't watch I don't watch Smackdown, so I can't really judge. Thoughts on Raw versus Smackdown? I think it's stupid. It's just a very transparent gimmick with which to sell Survivor Series on. And I don't know why they needed to do that, because they already had a gimmick to sell Survivor Series on. And it's like, well, why are you doing a brand rivalry pay-per-view when ever since the brand split, there has been no brand rivalry? Now all of a sudden, you decide to do a brand rivalry pay-per-view, so you decide, okay, we're going to have Shane McMahon invade Raw because reasons. Because now all of a sudden he just wants to invade and destroy everything. So this whole sudden rivalry that came out of nowhere is only because they wanted to sell this whole Under Siege thing for a pay-per-view. It wasn't organically put together. It wasn't well written. It's just something. It's just because they felt like they needed a bigger selling point for Survivor Series for this brand rivalry. And it'll probably go away the second the pay-per-view is over. But don't get me started on the writing in WWE. It's a pretty big shit show over there. Well, you watch NWA if they get a TV deal. Well, one thing at a time. They're pretty far away from getting a TV deal. Global Force Wrestling had a roster and weeks of TV in the can, and they couldn't get a TV deal. Right now, Billy Corgan has a champion and a title challenger, and that appears to be it at the moment. So they got a few ducks to get in a row before they can think about getting a TV deal. If they get a TV deal, I'll watch. I'll give it a shot, sure. I'm rooting for those guys to succeed, but one thing at a time. What you thought of the Punisher trailers? They've been good. I like them. I watched the show. Is a little bit of a sticking point with me, though, that they still got Karen Page in there. Look, I love Karen Page. Love Deborah Ann Wall to death. She's a huge TV crush of mine. Great actress. Drop dead gorgeous. Love her. But this thing with her and Frank Castle, if it's just, they're just like allies or whatever, fine. I do not want this to become a romance. It's fucking stupid. It's the worst thing they could do. And it is so goddamn annoying to me when people are, the people on Twitter who ship, not Twitter, the people who ship this on Tumblr. I'm always seeing GIF sets of Karen and Frank Castle showing up in my timeline. It's the most irritating goddamn thing in the world. Because if you know anything about the Punisher's character, you would be fucking mortified by the idea of shipping those two together. But these people on Tumblr, they don't get it. They don't understand it. They just sort of, the diner scene in Daredevil Season 2, I was shipping them so hard. You fucking morons. You don't understand. Do you not remember that the diner scene ended with Karen running out of the diner in abject horror after Frank brutally murdered 3 people? This is not a healthy relationship. These are not 2 people who should be together romantically. Frank Castle, quite frankly, shouldn't be with fucking anybody romantically. Because the whole point of his character is that he will never get over his wife. He's still in love with his wife. He's still traumatized by her death. He will never get over the death of his wife and kids. That's the whole point of his character. That's what fuels him. That's what makes him the Punisher. If you let him be happy, if you give him like a fucking romance and allow him, and so she can fix him or whatever, then he's not the Punisher anymore. Frank Castle is not a guy who is interested in romance. He's not a character who's interested in romance. The only thing that makes his dick hard is killing bad guys. Like I said, if they're just allies, like they were in, like they kind of were in Daredevil Season 2, okay. If that's a fucking romance, then no. Fucking no. 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 Otherwise, really like the Punisher trailers. Okay. Thoughts on Brock Lesnar versus Jinder Mahal? Yeah, they shouldn't be doing it. It's a stupid match. Think of the possibility that Havoc might return? Kind of doubt it. Seemed like they completely lost interest in her last time she was there. What will you review instead when... never mind. Is it safe to say that the Impact Grand title is retired now since EC3 doesn't defend it anymore, and the commentators rarely mention that he's the current Impact Grand Champion? Retired? Probably not. This seems to happen every time they have a second-tier belt. They always lose interest in it. But it always comes back. So yeah, I don't think it's going away. Although I don't think a lot of people would complain if it did, since that thing has just been just hasn't worked out. Just get rid of the 3-round point system, for fuck's sake. Why has EC3 become so boring? Because the writers are stupid. Like I said, they're not booking EC3 to get him over. They're booking him to get him under. Why is he in a fucking 6-man tag match at Bound for Glory? Why is he not in a high-profile singles match? This is one of your best talents. This guy could be a household name with the right amount of effort. Why the fuck are you doing this to him? Stupid. How many times did you approach TNA about writing for them? A couple times. I applied for a job there. I wrote a letter to Dixie Carter in one. At one point. Yeah, no response. Wasn't really expecting one, but, you know, just wanted to say I gave it a shot. Ugh. Okay. Is there anything else I need to answer here? Doesn't appear to be. This tea seems pretty weak. Yeah, somebody suggested that I drink tea with honey and lemon to help my throat. Yeah, I've been drinking it on and off for a while now. Oh, it seems so weak. I should have more flavor to it. I don't think it's really helping anyway. But yeah, I guess that's about it. I think we can think about ending this now. I wish I could have done this earlier, but I had to work all day. And I had to get up early, so I'd kind of like to go to sleep pretty soon. And was your favorite Knockout Tag Team champs? Taylor and Sarita, I guess. Yeah. All right. I guess that's it for now. Thanks for tuning in on this Saturday night. Wow, Bound for Glory's tomorrow. Really doesn't feel like it, does it? I hope they figure out some way to get Rosemary on the show. Like, put her in the title match or something. Or, you know, maybe have her versus Laurel Van Ness instead, and then have the winner get into the title match. Something like that. Just find a way to get her on the show, goddammit. Anywho, I guess that'll be it. I want to get this uploaded and posted on the Asylum before tomorrow. So thanks for tuning in, and I will talk to you guys, hopefully, next Saturday at an earlier time. All right. Bye for now. Over. Out.